Hello everyone, this is Sumit Rathi here. Welcome back to my channel called Walk of Life. Hope you all are doing fine. Today I'm here in front of you all with the eighth and the last episode of the series which I've just started called Conquer My MS Diagnosis Story. And the guest we have today with us, his name is Matthew. He's a very wonderful guy. After getting diagnosed with MS, he kept himself a simple goal that he want to walk down four of his daughters in the wedding aisle. What a wonderful goal that is. That is the goal which has kept himself going and he has conquered his MS in a true sense. Let's hear from Matthew what his MS diagnosis story is. Hey, hi Matthew.
Right.
I started this series called Conquer My MS Diagnosis Story because every story is unique, I believe,
It
and
is.
um, it needs to be put in front of the world. So this
Right.
is the whole intention behind doing this.
Sure.
So why don't you start introducing yourself and tell me how you diagnosed with it and how you cope up with it and what are your daily challenges you do
Okay.
face with the
Okay.
MS?
Okay. Again, my name is Matthew, and I've been diagnosed since officially diagnosed since 2004. It was the fall of 2004. I started realizing and noticing some symptoms as early as 2 years before that. Matter of fact, 2 years before that, I took my wife and my kids. We went to a Christmas movie, and during the movie, my entire face went numb. Like it almost felt like it wasn't there. And it kind of startled me. It was during the movie, and I didn't say anything. And we got in the car, and I said to my wife, I said, I was very quiet because our girls are young, were young at that time. And I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. And I said, I can't feel the side of my face. And my wife was very concerned. And in the next day or so, it kind of subsided. So I really didn't think too much of it. I actually thought maybe it was a tooth issue, wisdom tooth or something like that.
Sure.
I did go to the doctor, and I was 35 at that time,
Mm-hmm.
34, somewhere around there. And he said, well, let's get you an MRI. And I'm like, okay. Well, I was focused on my career, and I was focused on my job, focused on my life, focused on my kids, my young girls at that time,
Yeah.
and I didn't do it. So over the next year and a half, my career really developed more so. And then we moved from, I was in Missouri at that time, and
Mhm.
we moved to Florida. And so I was like I said, I was focused on my career and things like that. And about 10 months later, I started experiencing very, very strange symptoms. Um, I had this wave of fatigue that came over me like I'd never felt anything like that before. I scheduled an appointment with my primary care physician
Mhm.
because I wanted to kind of get an idea of what was going on. And I told him that I put my arm on the desk, and it felt like I was putting my arm on a block of ice. And he was, like I said, he was the family physician, had been going to him for some time. And he said, I don't want to startle you, but it sounds like MS. And I'm like, okay. I didn't know what MS was. Had no idea. And he said, all right, let's set you up to, I want you to see a neurologist.
Mhm.
So he set me up with a neurologist. I had an MRI, did all that. And now what he did say, you'll get a laugh out of this. He did say, I don't want you going home, and I don't want you Googling anything and looking up what MS is and things like that. So I don't want you getting concerned. Well, what do you think the first thing I did? I did. I looked it up, and I was reading all the different symptoms. And again, this was over 16 years ago. So, it was still, there was no social media at that time. There was no Facebook, no Instagram and things like that, no anything. So I only relied on what I saw on the internet.
Right.
And when I was reading all the lists of the symptoms, every one of those was me.
Yep.
And the panic started to rest in me. And I instantly looked up, will I die from this? And it said, no, you won't die from it. But anyway, so I went to the neurologist, had that MRI, And he came into the office. My wife was with me. And he said, you know, it's not every day I tell a 37-year-old man that he has MS, but you have MS. And I said, okay. And he said, hold on a moment. And he walked into the other room and he came back with a box, and it was a box of medication, injectable medication. And he said, you're going to need to take one shot of this every day for the rest of your life. At that point, it really set in. My wife at that point fell apart. She was very, very upset, um, because it was a disease, and that her husband was going to be dealing with this, and so on and so forth. And she had done her own due diligence on the internet, looking at things and such. And again, this is before social media. So I did do the medication for one whole year. And then literally almost year to the day, I ended up in anaphylactic shock because of the medication. And I ended up in the ER, and swelling of the throat and things like that. So it turned out that my body was rejecting that medicine after 1 year. So at that point, I started doing a couple other disease modifying therapies, and the side effects were very big. I could not deal with the side effects. The type of job and career that I had, it was impacting my job and such. So I could not do that. So I ended up just saying, you know what, I'm not doing medicine. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be doing any of these injectables. And I focused on my nutrition. I focused on nutrition, exercise, and wellness, and things like that. I studied. And again, this was still a little bit before social media. So I got online and I was looking up everything I could about how to cure MS and what you could do. Literally within the next year, I felt as though I should have a degree in a medical degree of some sort. And I was learning everything, what created inflammation and what didn't, and the foods and blood circulation, or blood type disease, or excuse me, blood type foods and things like that to better my MS and so on and so forth. And so I did a lot of studying, and much of the things that I read about was very, very helpful for me. And so I started focusing only eating certain things and being very well hydrated and things like that. Um, then there was in 2010, I came across a procedure. It was called CCSVI, and where they, I don't, have you heard of that before?
No, no, no.
Okay. Where basically there was an understanding that if you had blocked arteries in your veins, or not arteries, I'm sorry, blocked veins in your jugulars, that because of the blood flow, that was causing the MS symptoms. And so I did go and had my jugulars opened up. This one was, my left one was actually closed up by 80%. My right one was closed up by 40%. And my azygos vein, which runs down the back of your spine, was twisted like a candy wrapper. And I didn't know any of these things. So, and it was interesting, Sumit, because literally within 24 hours, I was walking around unassisted, unaided. I literally was able to walk in a grocery store, pick up a watermelon, and walk it out to the car. And I walked up the steps. I picked up my 5-year-old daughter. I carried her down, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a miracle!" It was amazing. And unfortunately, my veins restenosed, so they closed back up. And so I did have that procedure done about 5 different times at the hospital that was in Florida. And like I said, it was very successful. Unfortunately, each time, I never got the best results as I did from the original time in 2011. And so as things changed with the FDA and doctors, there was some things that took place, and they felt as though the FDA felt they actually sent warnings out to the doctors saying it's a procedure that we don't endorse anymore. And so I was focused on, again, nutrition, and focused on whatever I could do to just keep this, the inflammation down and such like that.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, late in 2014, maybe early 2015, I came across, and again, social media was alive, and so I came across a procedure called HSCT, which stands for hematopoietic stem cell transplant. And so I was investigating and researching it and learning as much as possible as I could about HSCT. I actually had HSCT in February of 2016. I actually traveled to another country with my wife, and we lived there for about 30 days while I underwent treatment, and which involved several rounds of chemotherapy to get rid of my old immune system,
Correct.
and then my own stem cells were put back in me, which had no memory of MS, and was able to restart my system, which is a healthier
Yes.
immune system, if you will.
Yes.
So I had a successful HSCT procedure, treatment, whatever you want to call it, done in 2016. And so I have a new immune system. I have a 4-year-old immune system. So sometimes I'll tease my girls, and they'll tease me how old I am, and I'm like, I'm only 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of a very abbreviated story of what's happened since 2014. Like I said, clinically diagnosed since 2004. So I have been living with MS for 16 years.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I did do that stem cell transplant was because my goal was to walk every one of my daughters down their wedding aisle. I have 4 daughters, and that was my goal. And
Wow.
even if I needed to walk down the wedding aisle with a cane, I wanted to walk down the aisle with each one of my daughters.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
yes, so, and I have been able to do that with 3 of my daughters. 3 of my daughters are now married,
Uh-huh.
and my 4th daughter, she is 17, so it's going to be a few years.
Yeah.
But at this point, and they are healthy and happy, and that was my biggest goal. Was, like I said, was to walk each one of my daughters down their aisle.
I mean, it's a wonderful goal which you have set it for yourself, and I'm glad that you are able to achieve that goal.
Yep.
Sometimes determination can make things happen.
Yep.
If you just keep on yourself in that negative, oh no, I have MS, I might be in wheelchair, oh, I might be in that, no, you won't be able to do that. But if you
Right.
have like a positive goal set up for yourself, I'm sure that most of us can do what we can.
Absolutely. It definitely is a mindset. And,
Yes.
that's one of the things that I try to, with, the guys group that we do each Monday. I want it to be a very safe space. I want it to be a happy place, and I want it to be a
Yes.
positive space. And like I said at the very beginning, I wanted to create a space where guys can feel comfortable in just talking about whatever they want. It could be about, how MS affects their relationship, how MS affects them medically, physically, and things like that. Are there tips or their suggestions? And not only that, and of course, with the pandemic going on at the highest that it was at that time, there was no MS groups really meeting at that time. They actually are still not meeting at this time. So it really worked hand in hand, where the guys could meet. We're across the country. We actually have a gentleman who is from Canada. He gets on here on the Zoom call, and so it's a nice time. And it's not just once a month. It's every week. We kind of check on everybody, see how everybody's doing. And throughout the week, I'll just see how everybody's doing. If anybody is not on the Zoom call in a while, I'll send them a message and I'll say, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I haven't seen you in a while.
I mean, it's a wonderful way of connecting with people. It's nice because if you keep yourself distracted, you might not even think that you have MS for a while.
Right.
It's just a way of, and you know, I have learned so much just within like 30 minutes we have had call about it. I mean, the stem cell therapy and what all the different treatments you have gone through. And now you have made me go and do my own research around that because I have seen a video about the stem cell therapy of a woman in Chicago, I believe. And then I even asked my neurologist, and he said we don't have promising results yet. That's why we are not doing it.
Right.
So, I mean, I was there, but I didn't do my full-fledged research like you did. And then, of course, you have now pointed out correctly how much diet is important, how you control your own body with the food that you eat.
It is.
That's what
It
is going to be my next research.
it very much is. Matter of fact, the guys we were talking about it to some point to at length, I should say, last night. And there was a couple that were saying, well, that really shouldn't matter, and really shouldn't have any unless you've got a celiac disease or something like that. However, we do know that there are foods that create inflammation. We do
Correct.
know that processed refined sugar does cause inflammation. We
Yes.
do know that certain, if you drink wine, if there's tannins in that wine, that is going to create inflammation. We do know that gluten
Gluten.
creates
Yes.
gluten. It creates inflammation. We know dairy creates
Dairy.
inflammation. Right.
Yes.
So, and that's just fact. I mean, whether you're even if you're healthy, it's still going to create it's still going to create those inflammation issues. So the science been proven, the medical community has proven that. And again, if I was healthy and I decided to have a glass of milk, that's going to make me sleepy, and I'm going to feel it in my hands and things like that. That's just what those things do as far as inflammation. So what I have done personally, and many hundreds and thousands have done, is eliminate those things, and they've done diet elimination just to make them feel better. And so in my particular case, I don't look as MS standing for multiple sclerosis. I look as MS standing for managing symptoms, because we do know that MS is a whole host of different things that we've got going on.
Mhm.
But we have to understand managing the symptoms is generally 70% more than of the battle. And if we can handle, those types of things, then we can handle a lot of other things that go along with it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And you know what? You have made me so much interested in this food, that diet thing. Now, I mean, in fact, it's funny that I say, because yesterday I was watching one video where the guy was saying that his dad had MS. I don't remember the guy's name actually. And he had MS. I mean, it's a hereditary in his family. And
Right,
he created a diet plan to eliminate dairy, exactly what all you said, like
right,
wine, dairy, and then
right,
gluten.
right,
Exactly. And he said, eat as much as healthy you can, and your symptoms will be controlled. You might be able to see miraculous results out of that.
right.
So,
Exactly. And yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about that last night. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sumit, but
no problem,
we
no
were
problem.
we were talking about that last night. Is there's certain foods that are going to stay in your body a little bit longer. For example, we just had the holidays, and I fell off the wagon a little bit. I had processed sugar. I had the cookies, the
Yes,
holiday cookies,
sure.
and but I felt it within 30 minutes. I could feel the difference because of the sugar and because of the gluten. But it takes time. It takes a few days, takes 3 days to eliminate sugar out of your system, but it takes over 30 days to eliminate gluten out of your body. So it's a diligent process that you have to do. But I do believe, and I think nutrition is key, and nutrition is key in our health. And so if you've got something that's not working 100%, you've got to refine it a little bit more.
Correct, correct. You're absolutely right in saying that. And I'm sure this research of yours and this discussion of ours is going to help a lot of people to
I
look
hope
at.
so. I hope so, because it is achievable. So I wish I would have done these diet tricks and tips. I shouldn't say tricks, but tips. I wish I would have started them much sooner.
Yes.
It may have made a difference. I don't know, but I do know I feel better mentally and physically with regarding because of those just the nutrition tips.
Yes.
So I have a very beautiful wife that I adore. We've been married for over 30 years. We've been together for 32 years.
Wow.
And so she's seen me at the good, and she's seen me at the challenging times. And we've raised four beautiful daughters. So um, I,
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's all I care about. That's all I care about.
You're right.
One of my biggest frustrations, and I share this with my wife, is I just want to be able to get this done. I'm going to get it done. It's just going to take me longer. It might take me, instead of me, normal person, it would take them get it done in 5 minutes. Me, it might take 30 minutes, and things like that. But that's okay. I just have to have patience with myself, and that's probably the biggest challenge. Is I get discouraged with myself because I want to get it done, and I want to get it done quicker, or I want to be able to have my hands work like they used to, or my fingers work the way they used to, or my legs work the way they used to. But that's okay. It's just a different mindset at this point.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm sure many of us will be inspired like I am today after talking to you. I feel so proud to have this call with you and have you onboarded on this call. Thanks a lot for accepting my invite, and thanks a lot for sharing your story with me.
You're
Because
welcome. Well, thank
it
you for having me.
definitely is gonna inspire a lot of. Thank you once again, and
All right.
yeah, have a good
All
day.
right. All right. Thank you, Sumit.
Bye-bye.
Take care now. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Hope you all enjoyed this eighth and the last episode of the series. This particular episode was so informative because it gave a lot of insights to me on what should be my diet, what should be the treatments which I should be looking for, what are the questions which I should be asking to my neurologist. Hope this video helps a lot of us like it did it to me. If you have your stories and you want the world to hear them, you can still comment down below and we'll start a second series with your wonderful stories in it. So until then, keep up spreading world, keep informative about your health, and keep living the healthy life even though you have MS. Because you know what? MS is not going to stop us. We gotta keep going. Thank you and bye bye. Love you all.